Hey friends, welcome back to Pastors' Wives Tell All. Before we get started with our epic conversation, we first want to say thank you to Tyndale Publishing, who is sponsoring this episode. They recently came out with some new Bible studies written by Kat Armstrong. And Kat, we already love her. We plan to have her on the podcast actually in an upcoming episode. So stay tuned for that. She has written a Bible series called the Storyline Bible Studies, Gardens and Deserts. And basically, this series breaks down the whole story of the Bible in an easy to understand way using a certain place, thing, person, idea. She just brings it all together. So what could be super confusing isn't quite as confusing anymore. And I know that we're loving it. Can y'all tell me something that you really enjoyed?
I was going to say, I love what you were just talking about, the way that she uses the different places and things, which is really helping my mind remember where things happened in the Bible. Because I mean, it's such, let's just be honest, Old Testament, New Testament, a lot of times that can get a little murky, but there's just so many instances where the Old Testament is spoke about in the New Testament and vice versa. And she does a really good job of bringing all of it together for one story. And so I am just remembering things better, remembering where stories happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was New Testament, or oh yeah, that's Old Testament, and just how she also just intertwines and makes sure you go study the Old Testament to hear what happens in the New Testament. Also, she gives a personal context, a spiritual context before each chapter, which I really like. So it really gets my mind just thinking and processing before we dive into what story we're kind of talking about.
Yeah. And she's also super vulnerable throughout this entire series. She talks about like her weaknesses when studying scripture and how she had to continue to ask questions and dive deep while going through it. So I love that.
Which makes you feel really good, because I mean, a lot of times, especially if you're in ministry, you think I've got to have it all together. But here she is writing 8 books, like Bible study books, and saying, hey, sometimes I don't understand this. And I think it's just really cool how she does that. It makes us feel better about going through a Bible study.
Also, they are beautiful.
Oh, they really are.
Gosh,
beautiful.
the art, for real.
They look good on a shelf.
That's
and you
right.
grab the one out you need, and it is going to be good to go.
And also, if you didn't know, Kat Armstrong is a pastor's wife, which is pretty cool.
That's
so
awesome.
Go get her studies at thestorylineproject.com. And we will put that in the show notes. All right, let's get to our episode.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
I'm Jenna.
And I'm Stephanie.
And you are listening to Pastors' Wives Tell All,
a podcast by pastors' wives for church leaders and anyone desiring to take a peek inside our glass house.
We are breaking down walls and crushing pastors' wives stereotypes within the church.
We want pastors' wives and other ministry leaders to know that they are not alone in this. Plus, this is basically therapy for the three of us with a whole lot of dance parties. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Okay, guys. So, first of all, before we start this podcast, I just need y'all to know, I wish y'all could be behind the scenes and hear what we talk about right before we come on.
I don't.
And speak of spiritual things.
It's interesting,
What were we talking about?
to say the least.
You were checking on my mental status.
Oh, yes. Just for those of you who just care to know, I was asking her if she heard voices behind her, and I didn't give her any context. And she thought that I was asking her if she had a multiple personality disorder or something. But I was literally just asking because our headphones are right behind us and we're not using them. So our voices are coming through the headphones.
You're welcome.
Just
See,
making
it's
sure.
like you really are here now in Jenna's
part of it.
dining room.
Oh, and let's not forget the fact that I think y'all should vote on this. No, don't vote, because I don't care what you think, because I really do want to do blankets. Has anybody seen that trend where people are wearing blankets while recording podcast episodes? And it just looks so cozy, and they're on their couches with their blankies, and
I'm
it's
there
about to
for
be
it.
fall.
I'm there. I mean, I'm not there
we need
yet.
to do it.
I mean, y'all know I live with a blanket. I've literally
Do y'all see my face right now?
put a blanket as a skirt and walk around my house, even in the summer.
Do that.
You do
So-
that.
That's so true.
100%. I am all in.
I want a blanket
The
right here.
Taylor girl right
Can
here.
it be like,
Ooh, and I could sit crisscross applesauce in the chair, and they
What
wouldn't even
about-
know.
what about a Snuggie? Doesn't that make more sense? 'Cause we could have
100%.
our arms
Jenna
can
available
wear-
for
My gosh.
purposes that they.
Jen is going to wear a Snuggie.
I was
We'll
just going to
stay
have my
with the
blanket on my lap, but if you would like a Snuggie,
You can wear a Snuggie.
we can get Snuggies. That sounds
Anyway,
Speaking of blankets and Snuggies and all the fun, cozy things, we're going to talk about kids today.
we're going to talk about kids.
Yeah, we're going to talk about kids because
Okay.
we've had a lot of people. One of the things that we've always gotten, especially in DMs and the Facebook community group that's closed for pastors' wives, there are so many questions and just conversations that happen about how do you do ministry when you have young kids? How do you stay plugged in and not feel like you're all alone in another country when your husband is still in the trenches and you're in the trenches of spit up and diapers and all of the things. But also that can carry on even to when they get older. It just depends on how things happen with you and your husband with ministry and children. But I think all three of us have different situations and things that we went through that we would love to share, and hopefully would be some good takeaway advice. So Stephanie, for you, just setting the scene.
Yes. So when my children were babies, littles, toddlers, I had 3 back to back to back. And I definitely feel called to serve in the ministry alongside of my husband. I know some people are just not sure where they fit. I'm like all in. I want to be at the youth group. I want to be at every activity. I want to be listening to these girls and helping them if they have problems, whatever. That is me.
Yeah.
But I found myself in a town where my family was nowhere nearby. So I didn't have like my mom. I could just call and be like, hey, I need help with the littles. Or if I did have people who might be willing, I felt like I couldn't ask them. I don't know. I just felt weird about asking people who were not family to come and stay with my babies.
Yeah.
Even if they were church family. And so I found myself missing out on lots of activities. I remember even one time I did get to go and then I regretted it because I think both my husband and I, we just did not know how to balance all of that. And I remember my oldest at the time, he was probably 2, and he was sitting there screaming out for his daddy's name, trying to get his attention. I'm trying to rein him in. And then my husband, I can tell, is frustrated and looks at me like, get it together, get them or whatever. And I remember feeling this small, and he did not mean to make me feel that way.
Yeah.
He was frustrated. I was frustrated. But I remember thinking like, I guess my job now is just to be at home with babies and I can't do anything.
It's like you lose a piece of yourself very quickly.
Yeah.
If you are like we were and wanted to just jump in and still, we were part of the ministry full time. So it's like a piece of you is just ripped away so quickly.
Yeah. The isolation got to me. And I know there are some people listening who are maybe in a similar circumstance where there's no family nearby. And so you feel weird about maybe asking people to keep your kids, or maybe you don't even feel safe doing that because they're babies and they can't tell you what happens when you're not there. And perhaps you're a stay-at-home mom. I did not have a job outside the home. I didn't want my kids to be in daycare or anything. That was just my personal preference and my husband's. And so I was there at home. I'm also not the homemaker type. I think I wanted to be, but really ultimately I love to work, especially creatively like this. This is super fun for me. I love to travel. I love to be with, and I don't think I even like realized that then, but that was like all consuming. But I will say, I remember somebody, and I can't even remember who it was, but somebody older and wiser told me that my most important ministry at that point was my kids, and that this time would be fleeting. And I know you're hearing this and you're like, okay, yes, I've heard this a million times, but it literally feels like it's never going to end.
Yeah.
It will end, and you will look back. It will end.
And then they're going to high school.
I know.
What the heck?
I know.
Okay, keep talking because I'm going
That's
into a sad
totally
place.
fine.
It's fine.
But I have regrets from that time. There are things that I wish I would have done. Like, for instance, so if you are young, you have young babies and you're at home and you're feeling this way, I felt like, oh, I got to clean the toilet during the quick, brief nap time that my oldest son, he would only take 15-minute naps at a time, and it would only be 1 or 2 a day. Like, he was a very strange baby. Yes. Other babies sleep a lot. This one did not. And so instead of just being and sitting still with my baby or just holding him Because then people would be like, oh, let him cry it out. But he literally cried all day. So I was
Mhm.
literally going crazy.
That's hard.
And instead of just like wearing him and being okay with that,
Mhm.
like I've seen people do in other cultures, and walking around and holding him and cuddling with him more, like I regret not doing that more.
Yeah.
In my head, I had to have this perfect family and I had to let him cry it out because that was what I was supposed to do. I'm sorry, if you're a mom and you have a baby, ultimately you're there with them, you know what's best for them. And so I wish, so for those who are at home, I wish I had not regretted so much of not being up at the church. I wish I had just rested in it, cuddled more, because trust me, you will be very busy later.
Yeah.
You will be so busy as they get older, and you will be able to be right back at the church doing all the things and feeling tired and wishing that you had that time to just sit with your babies.
Yeah.
And I know, like, and when they're napping, to literally allow yourself to rest and ask for help. Ask your husband for help. Even if he's tired when he comes home, be like, hey, can this be a thing where we team up and we quickly do a cleanup on one day a week or something, like a big cleanup? Whatever it is, you cannot just stay silent and act like, well, to be a good pastor's wife, I have to do everything, take care of the kids, do everything around the home so that my husband can go do his things, because you will go crazy.
Yeah.
And you've got to rest. You have to rest. You have to make yourself do
Well,
it.
and I like that you said like communicate. I remember being, so both of our daughters are adopted.
Yeah.
So with adoption comes that you actually can't ask people to help you, especially early on. So I felt very alone because I needed to be the only one that was changing their diapers. I needed to be the only one that was holding them, feeding them, and everything. So in that moment, it was really hard if Jonathan was at work and I was home. I couldn't call my, parents. I couldn't call them or call a friend because I needed to build that bond with them. And so it was hard and I felt alone. But I think one of the things like communication, like you said, is key. First of all, I believe that in a marriage that we also need to know that wives are not the only one called to be a parent. So you shouldn't have to ask your husband to be a part of the kid's life and to help.
But the reality is,
a lot of times you have to, depending on your husband. So depending on your husband, there needs to be communication. And the biggest thing I would say, communication for me with Jonathan was just like, hey, I'm struggling. I didn't need his help because when he came home, he knew how to parent. But my communication needed to be, I'm struggling because I want to be with y'all. Like it was more of like letting him know my internal struggle to get it out, to have a safe place. So I just had to let him know that I was sad or I was frustrated or I wanted to be with my daughters, but also I'm really sad that I can't be there. I would also go, hey, like, tell me everything that's going on. Like, I am a detailed person when it comes to relationships. So I want to know if I'm not there, tell me, not the man version, but the woman version of how ministry is going, what's going on. So that helped me feel like I'd still be a part, even when I wasn't there. And one thing I know I've said years ago in a podcast, but for me, relationships and how I was created to be a part of the ministry is with relationships and with counseling the girls, especially. So when I couldn't be with them, I was praying for them. I was texting them. And I was having times where maybe potentially they could come over for coffee where I couldn't leave the home, but they could come over and we could talk and share and, even have game nights. We did do that where we brought some of the ministry to the home. So I was able to still be a part of some of it. So even being strategic, the way that you plan things, especially if youth ministry, I know that's a little harder if you're the lead pastor. Come on, church, come on over. You probably don't want that, because then that's more work for you to clean your home. But to just strategically know, how am I serving and how can I continue to serve in my first place, my first ministry, which is home with my children, but then how can I still stay connected? Because the enemy will try to make you feel more and more alone. To make you feel like you're not really actually needed. Do you see your husband's actually thriving without you? You see the church is actually doing great. Like there's really nothing that you are giving that anybody really needs.
Ooh, I believe those lies.
So But those are the things that the enemy told probably all three of us and so many of you out there. So you have got to strategically have boundaries up and the full armor on, even when you are the most tired in your life.
Yes.
Because if not, you will drift and you will become a bitter mother at your children and at your husband and at your church. So I think we need to kind of talk about some ways to help make that.
The whole of depression.
Yes, the whole of depression. So we'll definitely get to that. But Jenna, tell us a little bit about how it was for you.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I have a really hard time remembering, like, really what that season looked like for me because I feel like, Stephanie, I was a little bit like you where I felt like I was drowning, but I also kind of did that to myself too because I was a hermit, especially after we had our first child. I was a hermit. I didn't want to leave because I was like, this is what her schedule is. I know she thrives on predictability. I do too. I needed that like structure with parenting little ones. And it worked great until we left the house. And then it was like everything hit the fan. As soon as they would want to eat, like I would be anxious about feeding them in public because I nursed my kids. And
same.
I just felt, and I also,
and back then it was like a stigma. And so you had to like go hide in the bathroom or something, a nasty bathroom.
And so like I had the cover and everything, but like I am a hot natured human. And so I'd try to do it in public with the cover on and I'd get hot and frustrated and it would make me anxious. And then like my kids screaming because they're not comfortable and I'm not comfortable. And I'm also worried about like, is somebody going to see me? Like there was this whole thing. And I know I shouldn't have been worried about that, but all of that to say, I did kind of isolate myself in that season. But then there was also the FOMO. Like I didn't like missing out on, what was happening in ministry, and at that time, from what I can remember, Ian was a youth pastor and I've told everybody on a previous episode, I was super intimidated by that age group anyway. So there was part of me that was like, oh, I'm good. I'm at home with my kids. But then I'm at home like stressed out and dying with my kids, like because I can't be there. But also I'm stressed out because of parenting. I mean, because it's hard. And he was gone a lot. But so I was honestly like in both camps. Like I had some FOMO because I wanted to be there, but also I kind of put myself in that position and I was good with it. But so I don't know. It was a very strange season for me because even at that point, like I had no idea what my place was next to him in ministry, if there was even one. I just was at home, doing the mom thing. So,
hey friend, we will get right back to our episode, but we want to take a moment and thank our patrons. You guys keep our podcast going.
If you are not a patron and you would like to consider donating to our podcast ministry, we would be so grateful, and we might even do a happy dance.
When you become a patron, you get perks like being the first to hear about special info and retreats. You get bonus episodes, monthly devotionals, lock screens, and more.
Plus, we have added a new $1 tier for those who believe in us and what we're doing, just because you love us.
So head on over to our show notes and click on the Patreon link to learn more. Now let's get back to our episode.
Well, and I think this is a good point before we go back to like what we were talking about with Stephanie. Like, so if you are a mom out there and you maybe are just, you were pregnant going into your husband taking their first job, like, and you have not even established, I don't even know what I'm doing yet. And then how do I even come into a church? So practically, what is some advice or things that we can tell them? Because I think that all of us would say, give ourselves more grace. Don't regret this time. It doesn't last forever. But what are some practical things when they're, have a baby and they're at a new church and they don't even know a lot of people yet?
I want to say like ask for help, because I think a lot of people don't want to ask for help. And I think that that's something that we need to be better at doing, is asking for help. Even when they are super little, I think we feel like it's a burden sometimes, or maybe that's just how I felt, but I felt like, oh, they're so little. Like, I don't want to ask somebody to watch them again just so I could go do this thing. It felt selfish for me to ask for help when I wanted to go do something, alongside Ian at church. But looking back, like I wish that I had asked for help more often.
Yeah.
I do
So-
think it might be hard in this scenario if it's a new place, because many people, like I said, are moving away from
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
to go to a new church. So they may not be able to ask for help. Let's just get real for a second. You might not be able to ask for
Yeah.
help. And if you're in that scenario, I would say, I think you need to take all worry of judgment from people if you're not completely like all into the
Yeah.
church right off the bat because you've got littles. I say you come in and you make sure that you and your husband are on the same team,
Mhm.
and you look at the other leadership in the church and say, hey, my wife right now, you're probably not going to see her a whole lot.
Right.
Right now, her job is with the littles. There, she's a little overwhelmed. She's young. We're young. We've just had these babies. We're trying to figure it out. Please give us grace and come in immediately. It would help if the husband had your back,
Mhm.
because also, if it's just your husband who was hired, you weren't hired.
Right.
You are a member of the church,
Sure.
of the church body, just like anyone else. Anyone else that has a baby, we give them grace.
Yeah.
We say, oh, they're not here because they're at home with the baby right now. The baby's still really young. They're nursing. The schedule is crazy. We offer grace.
Mhm.
And the thing is, we should expect that the church would give that back. And if
Yeah.
for some reason you're going into a church and it doesn't seem that be that way, that would be another conversation with your husband saying, I need you to step up and defend me
Yeah.
like in a kind and loving way. But he should go to the church leadership and say, hey, this is where we're at. And then not be afraid of that judgment.
Yeah.
Because if they're judging you, that's between them and the Lord. You right now are doing
Mm.
the job that God called you to do, this ministry to your children when they're little like this. He knows your heart. He knows where you're at. You can still be a part of the body without going and doing all the time.
Yeah.
You can still be a part of that church body.
sure.
Mhm.
Stop worrying about what the other people think.
Yeah.
Easier said
I
than
like
done.
I like that. I would say, to add to what Stephanie is saying, for the actual church, because we know there's tons
Oh,
of you
yeah.
out there that are not maybe in a leadership role. Like, how can you help
Mhm.
a newly, a new mom that just had a baby?
Yeah.
That she just came into your church for the first time. She
Mhm.
doesn't know
Yeah.
a lot of people. Like, how can you serve her and how can you serve her husband? It's just check on her. Like,
Mhm.
don't just check on her with just empty words, but actually really, even schedule, hey, can I come bring a meal or bring you a
Yes.
Starbucks and like come sit at your house? Now I know like there's a bunch of introverts out there that there's no way I would invite myself over to a mom's house that I don't know. Okay. So what can you do? If she does come on a Sunday, how can you help? Like, you go up to her and look her in the eyes and don't just say, hey, how you doing? Love your baby, but actually like sit with her
Mhm.
and check on her. Is there anything you need?
And she may not know what she
And-
needs.
yeah.
And it may
Yeah.
be you listing some
And you
things.
just-
Can I bring you a meal?
Right. Bring it.
Can I?
Give,
Whatever.
give a list of things that
Yeah.
don't just back down. Don't be annoying, but don't back down,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everyone is, just us as humans, we're just like, no, we got it. I'm good. Because you don't
Even though
want
we
to.
don't.
Right.
Yeah, even though I would say push a little bit, because she really
Yeah.
don't have it. I mean, she's rocking it because she a mama, but she
Yeah.
would love something.
Mhm.
What that something is, you're gonna have to like seek and find. But also, I think another big thing would be if you, as a mom, yes, you can't be a part of everything, but maybe just come every other Sunday. Like, Sundays might be really hard for you, or
Mhm.
your baby. Don't feel the pressure to have to be there.
Yeah.
I would love to give myself that again, to go that it's okay if you miss a Sunday.
Yeah.
You're not going to hell. Your baby's not
Mhm.
going to hell, and your husband's not going to get fired. And if he does, you don't need to be there anyways.
Yeah.
So,
Amen.
but like, take care of yourself so you can be better that week. Don't like just skip out every week, but if you need permission, we're giving it to you. PWTA is giving you permission to
Mhm.
stay at home. But
right.
when you are there, as much as you can, try to at least see one person and like have a conversation with them, to have
Yeah.
like some kind of connection
Yeah.
with someone.
Community
sure.
is important.
Yeah, community or someone on staff. So I think that would really help. So
Sure.
now, what if your kids are a little bit older? Like, how do you find your place when you're running your kids everywhere? They're in 5 different sports and, clubs and all of the things. And maybe you're the mama that doesn't feel like she knows where she fits in at the church. So let's talk about those mamas for a minute. How do you stay plugged in when your life is hectic and crazy, but you also really haven't found your place at the church yet?
I had some thoughts. I think right now I'm loving the age that my kids are because they can be involved too. So now I can actually talk with them and talk about the things that are going on at the church and, hey, there's this really cool activity coming up and blah blah blah, but kind of like discussing it at home gets me a little more excited about what I could be doing.
Right.
And then just looking for a hole, a need in the church, or maybe you've noticed that somebody's a little cranky in their job.
Right.
Maybe there's somebody who's like is only doing this because someone needed to do it and they really shouldn't be doing it. Perhaps that person would even feel good if you went to them and said, "Hey, I just love what you do. This is like my most favorite. I wish I could be a part. Is there a way I could?"
Yeah.
Well, that could open up the opportunity of that person saying, "Well, actually, I've been looking for someone."
Yeah.
Or just whatever your gift is, go to the church leadership. Maybe start with your husband if he's part of the church leadership, or go to the pastor above him or whatever and say, "Hey, I have a passion for such and such. Is there a way this could be utilized in the church?" Like I would say just opening your eyes to what's going on around you. Talk about things at home. Get excited about church with your kids, because then it's going to open up excitement for you to see what the open doors are. So that's just one thought I have.
Yeah. I agree with you, Steph. I think that our kids are at the age now where it has become easier because they can jump in and serve. It reminds me, this past Sunday, nobody accepted the planning center request for lyrics for the services. And our church has 3 services, and the first one is at 8 a.m. So Ian leaves in the morning at probably 6, I think, to get to church. Well, Avery loves doing that. He loves running lyrics. And I will admit, I am a little nervous I'm like, oh my gosh, is he going to mess up something in the production booth? Like anytime they're up there, I'm like, please don't touch anything. Like, God forbid we, break something and then we have to like pay for it. Like, oh, Lord help us. But he literally ran lyrics through rehearsal and all 3 services on Sunday morning. And
amazing.
some of the band did not even know that he was back there because he's so short. But literally he did the transitions like after songs, like into videos and stuff like that. And at one point somebody talked because he's got headphones on, right? Listening from the front. And at one point somebody said, "Wow, like pro presenter, whoever that is, that was such a great transition." And Avery from the back goes like this and puts his thumbs up in the air, like, yeah. And somebody else in the headset goes, "That's Ian's son, Avery, running lyrics today." And they were like, "No way." Like they thought it was so cool. And he's only 10 years old, but he was back there running lyrics because he knows the worship songs.
He's talented too. He's a smart kid.
Yes, he's a very smart kid, but he y'all, what that did for him to hear that affirmation too.
I'm sure.
And he has actually been running lyrics and doing some production over in the kids building for those kids services. And so he'll serve one and sit one. So he's learning that rhythm too. And then Addie has also started serving too over there in the kids building. So let your kids jump in and serve.
Yes.
Like they need to see what that looks like to serve the church.
Sure.
And I think as they get older, that definitely becomes easier.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a great way for you, if you haven't found your place to serve, like getting your kids involved, you have to bring them. Therefore, if you bring them and wherever they're serving, you're going to start, making contacts and building relationships with the people that they're serving with, which will help you. So it might even help you find your place through your kids' service, which is super cool. I was just going to add, ditto to that. Like get your kids serving, but get your kids serving where they want to serve. Really try to listen to their passions and giftings, because you don't want to just put them and fill the holes that you've been filling for years. And then them have, start to have that judgment and bitterness of like
resentment. Why am I doing
Why
this?
do I have to be here? Why do I have to do this? Because I don't want Grace and Olivia to lose that excitement of being a part of the Big C church. And I want them to serve where they, feel called. And so, I think it's a beautiful thing when they start to really see that. And then it really actually is helping them go, okay, is this something that I love that I would want to continue to do? So we're starting to have those conversations in 8th and 9th grade with Grace and Olivia starting to help with kids. So really enjoying that. But also they have to run the sound and music and video for the kids stuff. And a lot of it was filling holes because we are a smaller church, but they've enjoyed it. So it just happened to work out that way. I'm telling you stuff that I didn't do, guys. I did make my kids fill holes. But it worked in my favor, but it doesn't always work like that. So true. Be careful. But just bring like the whole family in to serve. And then while you're young, know that like we can tell you on the other end, all three of us, that it's like Stephanie said, I agree. Like just sit and be where you're at with the young kids, and that will not last forever. No. And there will be days when you wish that you were just holding them again and they weren't talking back at you. And, you know, rolling their eyes and all of the things. So also know those are good days, but they don't last forever. And then when you do start to be able to find your place and help them find their place, it's really beautiful to watch, like we're sharing. So
for sure.
We know it's hard. Keep up.
You've
got this. You're doing good. And if you're a parent with a 10-year-old all the way to teens, get them plugged in somewhere where they love to serve, because it really is a beautiful thing to watch them serve and to see God start to work in their lives. That's exciting. That makes me happy. I love to hear that about Avery. That's so cute. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, we love you guys. You might need to go take a nap. Drink some coffee. Go run an errand. Go back to work.
Go do whatever it is you're doing.
Go shopping.
That's right. Let's go. Let's go do that right now.
As I got no money, I can't do that right now.
I don't
but
do that,
it was a good try. It was a good try.
Yeah.
Okay.
We love you guys.
Bye.
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 Okay, friends, if you have enjoyed this episode as much as we have, please help us spread the word on Facebook and Instagram.
If you didn't know yet, Instagram is where all the fun is at. From dance reels on Wednesdays to spiritual encouragement and laugh out loud posts in between, there is something for everyone.
And last but certainly not least, if you could take a moment right now to stop what you're doing and give us a rating and review, even subscribe to our podcast, this seriously helps other people find us who wouldn't be able to otherwise. Thank you so much for your love and support. We hope you'll tune in next week.